Good morning, students. So we have covered chapter solids, liquids and gases, and we did fill-ups also of this chapter. So in the last lecture, one topic was missing, that was sedimentation and decantation. We read about the filtration. So we'll cover that topic in this lecture today, that is sedimentation and decantation. This topic is on page number 49 of your book, Sedimentation and Decantation. We read about the systems or methods to separate the soluble substances as well as the insoluble substances. For the soluble substances, we read about the evaporation or heating method, and for the insoluble substances, how can we separate insoluble? That were the three methods. First was filtration, then sedimentation and decantation. So this we are going to read what is sedimentation and decantation. How can we separate insoluble substances by these methods? Page number 49. During sedimentation, the liquid is left undisturbed for some time. The heavy insoluble solids settle down at the bottom. This process in which insoluble substance settle down is called sedimentation. Then the upper clear liquid is poured into another container without disturbing the insoluble solids. This process is called decantation. Mud and water can be separated by sedimentation and decantation. Now what this method is about? This method is used to separate insoluble substances from the solvent. Insoluble like sand, mud in water, they can be separated by the sedimentation and decantation. Now what happens in this process? You are having water in which mud is there or sand is there. Here it mud and sand is there in water. What you will do? You will keep this container containing water and mud for 10-15 minutes. Keep undisturbed for 10-15 minutes. Then after 10 or 15 minutes, see the mud or the sand that is in this container, it will settle down at the bottom. It will come at the bottom. वो bottom पे आके settle down हो जाएगी. And the water it will go up. वो जो clear liquid होगा वो ऊपर आ जाएगा. And the insoluble substance it will come down and settle at the bottom. Mud. Suppose here is mud. Here will be clear liquid. This heap of the mud that is formed at the bottom, this is called sediment. इसे बोलते हैं sediment. And this process is called sedimentation. The process in which the insoluble substance it settles down at the bottom, that is called sedimentation. And the heap that is formed over here, that is called the sediment. Now after that, you are having sediment and clear upper liquid. Now this clear upper liquid see over here. Here was the sediment. Here it was clear liquid. Now this clear liquid will pour in the separate container. and the sediment or the mud will remain over here only. So this process is called decantation. The process of pouring clear liquid into the separate container, that is called decantation. First, sedimentation occurs when you leave the solvent containing the insoluble substance undisturbed. Sedimentation takes place, sediment is formed. Then after that, the upper clear liquid that comes up, then it gets poured into the separate container, that is called decantation. This process you can see at your home also. When your mothers, they wash rice or pulses in the kitchen, what happens? They wash first, then they keep it for some time. The water, it comes up and the rice or the pulses, they settle down at the bottom. Sedimentation occurred over there. Then after that, that water, it is poured into another separate container or it is poured into the sink. So that is called decantation. So this is the process to separate insoluble substance, sedimentation and decantation. So this was the another method that we missed in that was missing in the last lecture. So now we completed up to choose the correct options. Now next is our give two examples, that is on page number 52. Now everyone open your books at page number 52. Give two examples. First is substances in which particles are very closely packed. Yes, we know that the substances in which particles are very closely packed, they are called as solids. Now we have to give two examples of the solids. Write any two examples of these solids. Write pen, pencil, chair, table, eraser, sharpener, box, anything you can write. Next, substances in which particles are very loosely packed. Very loosely means particles are only very loosely packed in gases. So write two examples of gases. Oxygen, right, nitrogen. Next, fluids. Write two examples of fluids that flow from one place to another, that flows in the containers. Any fluid? Milk, juice, ink. You can write any. You can write from yourself also. Substances soluble in water. The substance that gets dissolved in water. Sugar, salt. Next is substances insoluble in water. The substances that do not dissolve in water. Sand. You can write chalk. Write a stone. Stone, sand. Write a chalk. You can write chalk also. Chalk also doesn't dissolve in water. So first was examples of the solids, that is pen, pencil. Substances in which particles are very loosely packed, gases, oxygen, nitrogen. Fluids, milk and juice. So substances that dissolve in water, soluble in water, sugar, salt, and substances that are insoluble, that are stone and sand. So these were your two examples. Next is name what you would get in the following. There are something given over here, something explained. You have to write the output, the product that you would get. First is, when you take out an ice cube from a freezer and leave it in a room, leave it in a normal room. So what happens when you take out ice from the freezer and keep it at room temperature? What happens? What is obtained after that? It starts melting, and after melting, what do you get? We get water. So they are only asking ki what do you get after this? We get water after this. When you heat a liquid for some time, when you heat anything, you are heating water. After some time, what do you get? You will get water vapors. Next, if you fill water in an ice tray and keep it in the freezer, and if you are suppose it is very easy, if you are keeping water in the freezer, what you will get? You will get ice. When sugar is added to water, what we get? We get sugar solution. When salt is added to water, we get salt solution. So first is water, second water vapors, third ice, then sugar solution, and fourth one is salt solution. Next is are your question answers that you will get the worksheet. Now come to your let's recall. Let's recall states of matter and changing of states of matter. There is a cycle given over there to show how states of matter they change their form. First is solid. Solid, after melting, what do we get? Liquid. By which process? There will come evaporation, and after evaporation, what do we get? We get a steam. By condensation, we get liquid. And when liquid is, how do liquid becomes a solid? By which process? That is solidification. Solid, it changes into liquid by melting. Liquid changes into steam by evaporation. Steam changes into liquid by the process of condensation. And liquid changes into solid by the process of solidification. That is also called as freezing. Now next is soluble substances examples. They have asked about the examples of soluble substances. One is given to you, that is salt. Next you will write sugar. Write sugar over there. These are the let's recall that we are doing. Two examples they have given, one of salt. Next will be sugar. They are separated by what? We have read these are the soluble substances and they are separated by evaporation. Next, insoluble substances, first is given, that is sand. Second, you can write stone. And they are separated by, first process is filtration. Second is sedimentation. And third one is decantation. C. Soluble substances, they are separated by evaporation. Sand, stone, two examples first write. Then the methods by which they are separated. First is filtration, Filtration, filtration. Sedimentation, Sedimentation, sedimentation. Then decantation, Decantation, decantation. So your chapter is completed. Worksheet you will get. Now we'll not start with the next chapter. We'll revise first, as your revision tests they are going on. So we'll revise first chapter. Open your books. That is first chapter, food.